Welcome back, everyone. First off, let me say it is 57 degrees and beautiful out. So on my rabbit video, my rabbit hutch video, I was saying that there was a couple things to add to it to make it everything that I wanted it to be for my rabbits, and I've done that. So let me show you what we've done. As its basic structure, just the frame and the roof, it will work fine. That's all that was necessary. But I take things a step further and sometimes do too much, but I thought it was important because with this roof pitch and everything, and given this head space in here to be able to move the cages out and allow airflow, if it rains this way, it was still getting on the front of the cages. And I don't want any rain getting on these cages at all. So I built a little awning out of 2x2. This is ripped from a 2x6. Because as I spoke about in this build video, it's cheaper to buy 2x6s than anything else, and I can't find 2x2s in a 10-foot stretch, so I used a 2x6, ripped it down, and it's really basic, simple construction. And I was not going to rip them long ways like the roof is, because it would be a nightmare laying all these pieces and screwing them all down. Just one long run. It doesn't bother me for it to be corrugated this way versus the top way, and that is enough so that heat can still escape out the top, airflow can still come in, move across, and it should have no problem. It gets a good amount of shade here, so it does do a good job at blocking some sun coming in the early morning, so that's good too. But that was my biggest thing, was just keeping the rain off them, because you don't want your rabbits wet. And then to lift it up, so I just put two little L brackets that I had already there for it to rest on. I was going to do something super complicated, like with latches and stuff, and you could set it at different angles, and I just overcomplicate things sometimes. So I was like, no, we're gonna do it simple, and simple works best a lot of the time. So this is how I have to open it. And I was gonna put latches on it to hold it open. Again, just too much. So I literally have a stick that I set here, and I sit here. Voila. Sometimes the simplest things are the best things. And because I bought this vinyl for the top, this is how I made it, by the way. So that's that ripped 2x6 that I turned into a 2x2. I used that as the back piece that the hinges would screw to on these 4 points. Everywhere I had a vertical, I attached it. And I didn't want this thing heavy, or I wanted to make it as light as I could, but it's out of wood, so it's going to be as light as it's going to be. But so I just shortened it up and used a solid 2x2x8, and so there's just this little overhang, which will be fine. And then I put a little metal L bracket here and down here on this end, and then everything else is just screwed through and glued, and that's it. Very, very simple. The simplest way I could figure out to make it and have it work. So when it's open, it's, you know, about the same pitch as the roof. And I like that these are actually going this way, because when it's open, if there's any water on the roof, it's going to collect in these little ditches, and it's not going to roll into my rabbit hutch, which is what I'm trying to avoid to begin with. So I think it'll work well. I've come out here a couple times, it's rained, and it's worked fine. So I'm really happy with it. And like I said, because I had this extra vinyl, I had to buy this extra vinyl. I ended up with some extra pieces. I put a bracket in to hold it in place, and this is my rain and weather guard for winter time or whenever. And I did that around the sides and across the back, except for on one side I had to bend all these brackets with a hammer and make them shaped that way. So this is a stop, and it holds it in place so that this won't come any further this way, and I pull it out on this other side here, so it just slides in those brackets all the way across. I might put a piece of wire from the top to bottom just to keep it from bouncing out if it gets real crazy windy, but no problem so far. But yeah, so I just literally pull it out, and it's out for when I don't need it on. Same thing over here with this one. And then I was trying to figure out what to do with the poop, because you want to keep the poop. You don't want to keep the pee, you want to keep the poop. Some people make these elaborate gutters, and I just didn't want to do all that. So again, with the 2x2s, I took some 2x2s, ran it the whole span across the back, just screwed it in and glued it, and put a bracket in a couple spots across each side, And I use these window screens, which work perfectly. They set in there perfect. They run the whole span underneath the cages, so the poop will get caught in the window screen and the pee will fall down to the ground, and I can do with it what I will later. But the biggest thing is my pooper scooper there, if I let it go all the way to the ground, he's gonna eat it all. So we wanted to avoid that because that's disgusting. But a little hidden gem on this is these window screens have these little pull tab things that lock it in the window. Well, it also locks these. So you can't just pull these out and they can't just fly out. You have to physically unlock it to slide them out of here. And it worked perfectly. And to be honest with you, I wasn't sure how I was gonna tackle the poop tray or whatever, because those things are expensive when you buy the actual trays, like 30-40 bucks a piece, which is, I don't get it, it's a poop tray. But there's a lot of different options for that, and I didn't want to buy any more vinyl because that stuff's expensive. So I had these. I don't use them anymore, they're old, beat up, and I just happened to make this wide enough for those to fit perfectly in the bottom. So happy accident, happy accident, as Bob Ross would say. No mistakes, happy accidents. Well, that was, I could not have planned it better. So really happy with it, really happy with it. So that's it. That's how we're gonna do it. So we're all ready and set up now. Those were just the last few things I needed to do before I felt comfortable getting my rabbits. So rabbit on now. We are ready. That was the best I could figure for my setup and what my purposes and needs were and what I thought they would need and be best suited for here where I live. So yeah, there should be some happy rabbits once I get them. So we're gonna work on that now. But thanks for stopping by. Thanks for checking it out. And again, I hope it gave you some ideas if you're building one for yourself, because this is 100% complete now. I'm not adding anything else to it, other than like on the inside of the cages, I'm gonna add like a mat for them to rest on and a little burrow house for them to get out of, you know, have some privacy. Everyone likes some privacy. So, but beyond that, I'm not adding anything to the structure. That's it, it's done. So hope you enjoyed it. Thanks so much.